Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my
Really?
I don't know what happened.
What were you
My
gonna say?
bestie Jessica.
Wow. Okay, so it's the end of March apparently, so we're gonna be doing our March wrap up. And we're going to give you our top 5 books each that we read in the month of March in order from 5 to 1.
Okay, and despite how many times I call this the April wrap up during this video, this really is my March stats. I keep thinking April. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I keep doing that too. These really are my March stats. Before we start with this though, Mandy, what do you want to tell everybody?
Hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you here for our craziness.
Yes.
And to hear all of our books and just join in. And we also have some giveaways, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And like and comment below. We love chatting with you down in the comments.
Okay, so March stats, not April, March stats. How did your March go?
Pretty good. I read 36 books and 8 of those were 5 stars. So I have my top 8 ready to go.
Okay, so I read 34 books and I only had 5 stars. I mean 6 5-stars. So I did say that right? Because I kind of messed up my March 5. I had 6 5-stars. There, I feel better now. Whew, that was a mess.
I like how I said I had my top 8 ready to go and you just...
I didn't hear that. That just went over my head and under my feet.
Acknowledge it. Okay.
I know, I stepped. Okay.
Let's get this baby on the road.
All right, so
turn signal on.
Turn signal. Okay. So the book for me that landed in my number 5 slot, that is a really, I do this every time. I keep wanting to say slut, but it's slot, is For the Love of Layla by Callie Moss. So this is a dark psychological stalker romance. This is, I covered up the people's names, so that doesn't help me. This is about Liam and Layla. So Layla she's got her job because, you know, she's an adult, and she finds out that her company has been bought by this bigwig, and that is Liam. He comes in, he's like her boss's boss, and he and her have an attraction. They start dating, and a few months into the dating, he finds out that her boss is putting the moves on her, and so he decides to confront the boss because Liam is a little unhinged, a lot unhinged, and so he doesn't just confront the boss, he like assaults the boss, and Layla sees that, and she breaks it off with him. So when the book starts, they've already been broken up, and he is stalking her. Like, she has a dog that he gave her, and the dog knows him, so the dog's not like, doesn't mind when he comes and watches her sleep at night. But basically, he makes her feel like she is going insane, but he's stalking her just to get her back, and it is okay. So anyhow, I like this one quite a bit. I listened to it. The audio is out now. It came out in the month of either February or March. I can't remember, but it just recently came out and it was worth listening to. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because it's very dark, but I liked it, obviously. What book landed in your number 5 slot? I gotta find something else to call these. What book is number 5 for you?
Number 5. Well, just don't take up slot car racing.
Okay.
All right.
Did you damage it?
There's a little bit of a bend in the back cover.
Damn.
Okay. So number 5 for me is Finding Home by Lauren Rowe. This was also our buddy read that was on our channel. So if you want to hear a really in-depth conversation about it, you can go watch that. But it does contain spoilers. So my spoiler-free review for this book is, this is Caleb on the front cover. And Caleb is the drummer for Red Card Riot. That's kind of a tongue twister.
It really is.
And he is just living his rock star life, and lots of things rapidly kind of start to change for him. One being that he ends up finding out he's going to be a dad, and he is not ready for that. He wants nothing, like, he doesn't even really remember this girl. So he just basically pays her a huge amount of money and signs away his rights, which he then feels a lot of shame and guilt over. And when his daughter would be, what is she, like 2? 2, I think?
She's 2.
he finds out that her mom was killed, and so he travels to go where the little girl is to, basically get her. But he's also been court ordered to be, or actually it wasn't court ordered, it was insurance ordered to go to treatment for alcoholism. So he has to kind of bust himself out of there, and he goes and to get his little girl, and his little girl has been living with Aubrey was the girl's mom's best friend, and like pretty much the only person that she knows in life. And so he ends up asking Aubrey to stay with him as his sobriety coach and to help him with the little girl as he kind of just starts to figure everything out. And that's where the story goes. So I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Yep. That was good. Okay. So the next one that I have, the book that landed in the number 4 slot for me, is sorry, I can't help it. I can't. Book that landed at number 4 for me is Blood Bride by C.D. Reese. This is the one that was like a $90 book. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But then now I'm regretting not doing it. Anyhow, this is really.
You're going to end up spending way more money because you bought the other version. Then you're going to drop the 90 for the other one.
Probably. Dang it, C.D. Reese. What are you doing to me? Okay, anyhow, this is about Luna and Carmine. So this is a vampire. This is paranormal. Luna gets a letter. She really doesn't have a lot of family left, but she gets a letter that she has family in Italy, and there's like an inheritance, and she has to get on this private jet and go to Italy right away. So she does that. And when she gets there, like, not all is as it seems. There's an uncle there. He's the head of the mafia, but is he really the head of the mafia? Because it's not the mafia. Because you have Carmine, who is a vampire, who is the head of the real mafia. And he's been dormant, like sleeping for 50 years because he was staked through the heart. And there's like a piece, the wood is left in there. Like it's flat, but there's the wood that's left in there. And he is like slowly dying. So he needs the blood of a specific type of witch to try and keep him alive. And these witches are very hard, like they're just not out there anymore. And he's like, he know when he sees one. And he happens to see Luna on the side of the road one day, and the obsession begins because guess what? She's one of those. She just doesn't know that she's one of those. She can manipulate emotions, and she's always known that, but she really doesn't know what that means. And so now is when we see, like, he comes in and totally messes with her head, and eventually forces her into a marriage situation. I know that I'm doing a horrible job of explaining it, but it's vampires, mafia, arranged marriage. What more could you want? I mean, let's be honest. I loved it. Where are you? Okay, so what do you have for your number 4 book of the month?
Well, my number 4 book.
It sounds so weird.
Well, we always struggle with this because my top 4th read.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right either.
Coming in at number 4.
There we go.
For the month.
Yeah.
Is My Silver Lining by Laura Pavlov. So in this we have Lulu, who's staying at her best friend's house. She's just there temporarily because she's going to be moving to Paris. So she's just staying for a few months until that move happens. And then we have Rafe, who's staying in the guest house while some things are happening at his house, I think, is why he's there. Well, he doesn't know that Lulu's already there. So he goes to go into the main house. He ends up walking in on Lulu. Lulu freaks out, throat punches him. And that is their meet cute. So from there, we have the two of them in this forced proximity relationship where there's kind of a little bit of like, not really enemies to lovers, like hardcore vibes, but a little bit of that. They're not really getting along, and they kind of like have this stuff going on. Well, Lulu has a cousin who just really likes to throw everything in her face. They're in a famous family, and her previous boyfriend is in a rock band. And so she really just wants to lie low. And her family has kind of been giving her a hard time. So she says she has a boyfriend to get them off her back. And then there's this event that they're supposed to go to. And her cousin basically accuses of her of making up her boyfriend. So we have Rafe, who, if you've read the previous book, is having some issues with his boss wanting to set him up with his daughter. And he doesn't like that. So they decide to fake date each other and just be each other's dates for these things, which totally makes sense for grown adults to, kind of pretend to have a date in front of people that are bugging them about their dating life. And from there, we're going to have some sparks that start to fly. And I just absolutely loved this one because their arrangement just makes so much sense in the fake dating. I love fake dating, but I really need it to make sense. I think I'm getting more picky about it because I've read a lot of it. So you have
Probably.
to make it make sense. And Laura Pavlov does a great job of why those two are kind of forced together and the whole fake dating thing. And I just totally understood why she would tell her cousin that she had a boyfriend and then feel like she really needed to produce that boyfriend when she
Yeah.
gets accused of making him up.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got a
Even
safe
though
face
she
there.
did.
Yeah, exactly. Still got a safe face. Okay. So coming in number 3, see, that works. That really works. Coming in at number 3 for me is Omega, founded by Mae Pierce. This is a Wild West Omegaverse. It is a white shoes, and it's a mail order bride. Like, it had all the things. So this is about Esta. She is on the run. She is running from her father and her home because of certain situations. She's an Omega, but she is disguised as a Beta. She is drinking a tea that helps her disguise her scent, and she is going to this, like, the Deadlands, or I believe is what they called it, but basically to the edge of the world, as far as the train will take her. And she is going to the Heartlock home. So in this world, you have your designated and you have your humans. And they have outlawed, the humans have outlawed, once designated were, in their world, they outlawed the whole having a pack situation. So she is going to marry Hale. He is the oldest brother. And then living at their house is the brother that's just a little bit younger than him, and then they have a guy who helps out on the farm, and then there's a connection between them. And then they have their little brother, who is basically feral because the mom died and dad died and left them to raise this little boy who really is just a feral little boy, and he needs a mom, which is why Esta has come in. Now Esta is planning on telling Hale right away that she's an Omega, but she gets off the train. He immediately takes her to get married by the sheriff performs the wedding ceremonies. And she finds out once they get there that Hale hates Omegas with a passion. Like, he wouldn't marry her if she was an Omega. So she pretends to stay a Beta for a little while longer, but then there's consequences. This book had the best grovel ever. Like, she made him beg for it for half the book, and it was so good. So I really love this. I'm looking forward to the next book in the series, although I think it's not necessarily in the past like this one was, but I would really, if she watches this, I want another one like this in the Wild West. Just say. Okay.
All right.
Right.
Okay. Number 3 is the novella. But I love this novella so much that it's going on my list because novellas all have a place in the world. And when they stick with you, they deserve to be on your top 5. So coming in at number 3 is Run Little Bunny by Serena Pure.
Okay.
I hope that her name doesn't have a different pronunciation other than how it looks, but anyway. So we have Chad. Chad has lost in his fantasy league, and so he is now wearing a bunny costume at the Easter egg hunt, which he is embracing. When Anna shows up with her sister and her sister's little girl, I think it was a little girl, for the egg hunt, and her sister ends up daring her to like high five the bunny or kiss the bunny's cheek or something like that in the picture, which the bunny starts chatting with her, and she ends up agreeing to go out with said bunny, not knowing who he is, but hoping that he is going to be Chad. They meet at the bar later. He's still wearing the bunny costume, and I just loved it so much. We have a little bit of age gap going on. We have the secret identity. We end up with some breeding and some primal play, and just so much was in this novella, but it was amazing. I loved it.
Okay.
You would probably enjoy it.
Probably. It sounds pretty cute.
It knocks off all of your like checks.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Breeding, primal.
Mm-hmm. That does sound right up my alley. Hey, speaking of
Masked
bunnies,
man.
it's not the right kind of mask, but you never know. You never know what's gonna do. Okay,
Don't let
so
Jessica go to the mall during Easter.
because the bunny, oh my gosh, she's scary. I have pictures of my middle child losing her mind when I set her on the bunny's lap, and I remember doing that. And I remember some teenagers walking by going, "Oh my gosh, that's so cruel." And even to this day, I'm like, "No, it's not. That was memories." Okay, so it is what it is. She still talks about it. She was one. Okay. But she's seen the pictures. Okay, anyhow, my next book mine has a rabbit in it, and that's Red Rabbit by Devin Rivers. This is very, very dark, guys. Like, seriously, check all those triggers. This is about our heroine who is, and I totally just lost my things. Kaylin, and Kaylin is traveling from the Arctic Circle where she's been visiting a friend back home. And she gets on this little rinky-dink plane with a U.S. Marshal and a guy in handcuffs. And so she's sitting next to the pilot up front. Well, that plane does not make it to its destination. And so the guy in the handcuffs and her, they're in the wilderness now and they're trying to survive. Well, the guy is Graham, and something happens to them, and it sends her into a situation that is dark and depraved and disgusting and like the worst of humanity, just the worst things ever. And it's up to Graham to kind of try and save her, but then there's other people that come in, and it's a thing. I really, 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 really love this. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give it away. Just know that if you are into that dark captive survival type situation, this one right here.
Don't switch over yet. Keep
Why?
talking. No, okay.
Okay.
Well, my book closed on me.
Oh,
I
that keeps
didn't
happening
put
to me too.
flags in it because I'm like, oh, I don't need flags. But apparently I did.
Yep. Yeah, I got
I
flags.
can't keep my book open. Okay.
Okay.
Coming in. Oh, at number 2. But I'm like, oh, maybe this is number 1. But my number 1 I really, really like too. So coming in at number 2 at the moment, but give me a week and I might flip flop these two. My number 1 and my number 2 are very interchangeable. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So this is called Buried Dreams by Natasha Madison. I love this series so much. So this is Everly and Brock's story. We see a little bit more of the crash that took place in the first book that kind of set everybody's life up onto a different path. And we have Brock. Brock is grumpy. We see him quite a bit in the other, well, not quite a bit, but he's mentioned throughout the other 2 stories. He still lives there. He has a daughter, and he's only not grumpy with his daughter. And so him and Everly were together when the car crash happened, and Everly is no longer in the picture. She is not his little girl's mom, even though the timeline is suspiciously close. And that's going to be a whole nother thing for them to deal with. But Everly comes back to town due to her mom's health and helps her run a bakery while she is on forced leave because her mom does not want to leave. And so there she is forced into Brock and Brock's daughter's world quite quickly because this is small town. And I am not really doing this book justice, but oh, I just loved it. It was like angsty and it had this second chance, and you see in flashbacks why they fell apart. And this crash just had like devastating impacts on everybody. And oh, I just love this series so much. It's just, it really, really brings that angst and the emotions with it.
Okay.
It's becoming a favorite.
Yeah. The whole
Again,
series.
totally interchangeable as number 1.
Yeah.
Because as I'm talking about it, I'm like, dang it should have been number 1. But when I talk about the one I wrote down for number 1, I'll feel that way. Why do you make us do these videos?
Every month. Every month it's a chore for you.
Every
I don't know,
month.
because
And
my
then
number
December
1
is even worse because then you make me pick my top 20 of all time, my top of the year, and my top for December.
make decisions.
You are cruel.
I am cruel, mean, yeah. Okay. I make you do this because my number 1 is my number 1. Like, my number 1 is my number 1.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Oh,
What are we doing here?
what are you doing?
Friends? Come on,
I
friends.
know. That's why I'm trying to get it to do the like thumbs up and the fireworks for you, and it's doing nothing. And
It's like
you're
this.
like, F off. Look,
I
what?
thought you were trying to tell me to F off in an odd way. I was channeling our old friends days. Okay. Anyhow, so the book.
You were a disappointment.
Sorry. Sorry. All right. So my top read of the month of March was Caitlin Can't Die by Liz Hamilton. Loved
Ooh,
this
that
book.
is on my TBR to read ASAP.
Uh-huh. I loved it so much. So this is a post-apocalyptic rom-com. So this is about Caitlin. And I've talked about this a couple of times, but she is on a date. This is her third date with this guy when the world comes to an end. And it's like a virus and it turns people into somewhat like zombies. They're just big giant slugs, basically. But it's a zombie type situation. Well, so now that she's had 2.5 dates with this guy and the world has come to an end, she's kind of stuck with him because, you know, she doesn't know anybody else and like that's all she's got. So they decide to try and survive the end of the world together. And so now we are a couple of months into the end of the world. That happened in October. So she talks about all the Halloween candy that's at the stores that they raid because that's what time of year it was. And she's on her period and she really needs some tampons because imagine what that would be like at the end of the world. And so they're in a grocery store looking for tampons when these guys come in. She calls them bloats, but they come in. They're those zombie-like creatures, and something really bad happens. She flees, but she's injured, and she is cut so bad that she's starting to bleed out. And so she is like sits down next to a tree, and she's like, you know what? This sucks. The end of the world sucks. And so if I'm gonna go, cool. I'm just gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna go. Like she is just really at her wits end. There are a lot of negative thoughts because again, it would not be fun to survive the apocalypse. Well, lo and behold, that is where Riley comes in. Riley rescues her and he knows some medical stuff. And so he fixes her up and carts her little butt around for a couple of days. And Riley is our scarred hero. And he has, why are you humming? Are you humming? Why are you humming? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't know you could hear me. I was just looking for my notes and I didn't.
Of course I can hear you. Okay.
You know how sometimes you just do something and then I didn't really realize that you could
I
hear
thought
what
I was hearing things. I was like, what is that noise? And then I realized it was you humming. Okay. So Riley comes in. Riley is our scarred hero. And you know, he wants to live and he wants Caitlin to want to live, but there's a lot happening and the apocalypse is not fun. So this is their story. I loved it so much and I'm doing a horrible job of telling you guys what it is, but it was so good. It made me laugh. But it was like, it's dark humor. And I loved it so much. My book is on its way here. It's not here yet, so I can't show it off quite yet. So, because it's coming
I was
directly
plugging
from
my
Liz.
ears because I don't want to hear anything.
Okay. So was that why you were humming? Anyhow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Why won't this
That's
cough
really a
just
great
go away?
shot of me like this.
It's great. It's great.
My next book is called, or no, my next book, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Okay, my number one, interchangeable number one is Playbook by Rebecca Genshak. I love this one so much. So we have Brogan. Brogan, we see him in the other book with Archer, and him and Archer are now off playing professional football, and things are really kind of blowing up for him. Like he's somebody that people recognize now, and he's really living up the lifestyle. Well, London is frustrated that every time she goes to her P.O. box, it is full of perfumed letters. And she accidentally opens a package, not realizing it wasn't addressed to her, and there's underwear in there. And she's just really frustrated with this. And so she finds then they're all addressed to Brogan Six. And so she does not understand what this guy's deal is. Like, she's like, he has a harem of pen pals and into kinky male play. And she ends up running into him at a club, and somebody says something about him, and she goes and like tells him off. And he is like, whoa, I like totally forgot about that mailbox. I'm so sorry. And he feels genuinely bad. And so he tries really hard to buy her a drink, and he tries to like get to know her a little bit. And he ends up writing her, and they start kind of their own pen pal thing. And he keeps asking her out, and she keeps turning him down because she thinks he's a player, which, based on all of the evidence, she would be correct. And there are some times where he struggles with like the line between actually starting a relationship because he's never been in one, and where those lines can blur. And I loved seeing his character change and him realizing like where that line is. I loved that so much. And they end up spending time together, and I just love the book so much. I don't sometimes I feel like I don't do a good job of actually talking about books. I'm not even sure
Same.
what's
I'm not sure why
happening.
why they're all watching. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
glad that you guys stay and watch, because I feel like when I don't care for a book, I can really articulate what went awry. But
Yeah.
when I love a book, I'm just like, I love it. It was phenomenal.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. It is what it is.
So, anyways, I
Okay.
really liked his character development, and I know that there were some people who did not care for that, but for me, I was seeing him changing, and I liked that. I don't
Mhm.
want to just be told that somebody's a playboy, and now they see this woman, and everything they've ever thought is completely changed, because that's not really how it works.
No,
And so I
not at
like
all.
seeing that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, okay, so that's it. That's the top 10, 5 each, from the month of March.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, what was your top March read? How did March shake out for you? Anything that we should add to our TBR?
Mhm.
Mine is really long, but I always like adding to it.
Same.
And then make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.